What's going on, everybody? Jon Impemba here with James Garani. Welcome into the Better Baseball MLB DFS Playbook live show here, breaking down Tuesday's 12-game main slate. My friend, James, how we doing?
Good. Happy Tuesday. Taco Tuesday. I wish I had tacos. Tuesday. Wish I had some Chipotle tacos.
I had tacos for lunch.
Nice. Congrats.
Are you a hard shell or soft shell taco guy? There is a right answer.
I mean, I'm typically a hard shell guy, but I will dabble. Like if it's a taco night, I'll dabble in both.
I'm definitely 100% soft shell person. Of course, when I do make like a soft shell taco, it ends up kind of getting rolled up like a burrito, anyways. So like I assume it also counts as like a taco.
Who's taking a lap, Mark? Which of us do you disagree with?
Probably both of us here.
No, it's got to be you. I mean, I would say this is like the coffee discussion we've had before. Like, hot coffee is obviously superior. Hard shell tacos obviously superior to soft shells. Like, this is another one of the.
I always tell you to take a lap. Of course. Well, Mark once dumped entire coffee on my front seat one time. So, anyways, Mark has his debut article over on Fantasy Salon. Those who are tuning in here, go check out the Value Vault today. Mark Pitt's in there dropping some value knowledge. Cole Reagan's on the cover. We'll certainly hit up the pitching here today, breaking down the 12-game slate. Before we do get into all of that today, though, of course, we have our friends over at Real Time Fantasy Sports. You go to rtsports.com/alarm, promo code alarm23. New users will get a 100% deposit match up to $200. You can scan the QR code on the screen, click the link down in the description of the show as well to take advantage of that offer today. You can use that deposit match in their best ball fantasy football or seasonal fantasy football championships that are going on right now, as well as their DFS Pick'em contest, which James and I are going to bring you our DFS Pick'em plays of the day over on RT Sports right now. Taking a look today at the DFS Pick'em board here over on RT Sports. Going to get 12 games to talk about this evening here, James. If we're going to kick it off, where's the spot you want to start tonight?
So I'll let you take Atlanta, Colorado, because I'm assuming we're going to have to get some.
Well, we're going to have some Atlanta, Colorado. That is true. I think there's that there's a mistake on the board in the Atlanta, Colorado game. I'll say that.
Ooh, little tease. Bring the people in for some more in about 30 seconds when we get to that pick. I'm going to go to Baltimore, Chicago. I really like Ryan Mountcastle today. I really like the right-handed bat specifically against Jesse Schultz. We just saw in the start against Oakland what happens when he faces right-handed bats. They give him fits, and Ryan Mountcastle has been as good against righties lately as he's been against lefties. 400 WOBA against right-handed bats over his last 30 days. So, a bunch of picks here. I'll go over or more than 7 fantasy points for Ryan Mountcastle today. You could take the total bases. We know he is a double/home run machine. You could take the total runs. His lineup around him is very good. But I'm going to go with the 7 fantasy points. I think we get that done pretty early today.
All right, we'll go knock down this Atlanta-Colorado game here. Also listed at 7 fantasy points, we have Matt Olson here this evening, going up against Peter Lambert in Coors. This one feels like a mistake line to me. We saw Atlanta hang a whole bunch of runs last night. Their implied team run total was 7.5 last night. Had no problems going over that. I think Olson does the damage here this evening. We're going to go more than the 7 fantasy points for Mr. Matty Olson tonight.
They doubled that, actually. They could have done that twice. Their team total. They could have. Ronald Acuna could have done it himself. It was 51 fantasy points for Ronald Acuna last night, John. I think that's pretty good.
Seems okay.
Seems okay. I wish there was more Seattle, Oakland exposure here. But ultimately, we have what we want here, John, because it is the season of J-Rod. It has been the season for quite a while now. The season continued last night with another 2 hits, home run, 4 RBIs. He is going to be special for a long time. Give me more than 1.5 total bases for Julio Rodriguez.
I'm in. I like that call a lot. I'll give one final play here to round out our 4-pick. We're going to go Padres, St. Louis. We have Ha-Seong Kim more than half a run tonight. Got a lefty on the mound for St. Louis. We know Kim does the damage versus lefties. You know that Padres lineup in general has some guys that can hit lefties. You have Kim at the top of that lineup here. I think he gets on. I think he scores tonight. There's our 4-pack picks tonight. Ryan Mountcastle, more than 7 fantasy points. Matt Olson, more than 7 fantasy points. Julio Rodriguez, more than 1.5 total bags. Ha-Seong Kim, more than a half a total run tonight. Giving you an opportunity to 10x your money this evening. James, let's go turn our attention now over to this DraftKings main slate. We'll go and pull up the Vegas lines for tonight. We'll just share the screen when it comes to our friends over at Covers. No graphic this evening. We'll just share the screen. We get the odds from them anyways. Taking a look at some of the totals that stick out. We, of course, have to go directly to this Atlanta-Colorado game. Sitting at 12.5, open at 12. Atlanta minus 270 favorite on the board. Biggest on the slate. Chalkiest game of the night. No surprise to anybody.
No, not much to add. I'm more so surprised that it's only 12. That is probably because Charlie Morton is a better pitcher than Bryce Elder is. Yeah. So there is that. Charlie Morton has in the midst of his best stretch of the year. I think it is a very interesting dynamic that Charlie Morton has to go into Coors during this stretch that he's on. There's nothing else that's really standing out, John. There is a 6.5 implied total tonight in Milwaukee, Chicago. 6.5 with Corbin Burns and Justin Steele on the hill.
Is that DraftKings Sportsbook 6.5?
I have FanDuel 6.5, DraftKings 6.5.
Cover's got it as a live line at 8, so that's a big difference there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at Covers, and if you go over to their that's the matchup page. If you go to their odds page where it gives you the list of all sports books, I have it between anywhere between 6.5 and 7 on every sport.
Well, that's definitely low. That is definitely a low total.
Obviously a slight lean on the over at 6.5 because I think that's just safe to assume that a 4-3 score is probable. But other than that, we have the rematch of JP France, Brian Bayo here, where JP France lost big time. I think the Red Sox scored 17 runs total or something? Or that game does have a 10.5 implied run total. But that's it. There's nothing else of much significance in this game, or on this slate. So let's dive into it. Big slate to cover. Sure. A lot of elite talent everywhere. Yesterday we weren't very happy with the top end of the pitching slate, John.
No.
I would say today we are. I'd say there's a lot of.
I would agree with that. We see Mike's question in there about FanDuel. Mike will definitely get you that FanDuel question answered for you. Pitcher and stack. A lot of the pitcher information we give now is going to be relevant to FanDuel as well. So when it comes to the top end pitching here, we have Lopez, Burns, Kershaw, Kirby, Steele, and Kelly up over $9,000 on the DraftKings main slate. How would you go about discussing this top tier of pitching tonight, James?
Yeah, so I think there's merit to pretty much everyone. I would say just right off the bat, George Kirby is my favorite arm of the slate, and I don't think that's saying much. He's been really, really good of late, outside of the Kansas City start, but we've talked about it a bunch. Kansas City has been pretty good for a little bit. At least were really good until they got 2-hit shutout by Johan Oviedo last night. But Kirby has been in really good form, 20 fantasy points or more in 3 of his last 4 starts, 19 plus fantasy points in 4 of his last 6 starts overall. He gets Oakland, who, has been really feast or famine. So I think Kirby would be my favorite. I have no problem getting to Pablo Lopez. We saw, Pablo Lopez bit us in the ass last time, John. I mean, he's done it a lot this year. He had been in the midst of a best stretch of the year. He was facing a Texas offense that had been struggling, and then Texas was like, "Oh, right, we are one of the best offenses in baseball. Let's just snap out of this real quick." And they did that. But I still think you can get to Pablo Lopez. Cleveland, as we know, like Cole Calhoun and Ramon Laureano is their 3-4 these days and hitting in the middle of their lineup. So you can definitely get there. Obviously, you can get to Corbin Burns if you want. He looks better when he's facing good teams than he does versus bad teams. He has had some blow-ups lately against Minnesota and Chicago, so that's a little worrisome. Kershaw, probably – I still don't know what he's built up to because he got rained out in the middle of his start. And Merrill Kelly, no thanks. We saw the Dodgers put up runs really early against Gallen last night. So for me, like, it's probably Kirby, Steele, Lopez would be the three guys I'd really have any interest in. But even Steele faces Milwaukee, who's won 8 games in a row. So,
well, that's for me. So when I did the show this morning here, I kind of highlighted these top guys. I said Kirby was really the only one I would have interest in. Again, Lopez felt too expensive for me. Again, I know Cleveland is not a great offense. Obviously, they did damage against Maeda last night. But it feels like 10-8 is a bit much. And on FanDuel, he's a top price pitcher as well as at 11-3. I just, I don't feel like Lopez is gonna like drastically outproduce someone like Kirby for $1,100 more, right? So like even if Lopez scores a couple of more points, I can do a lot more. It feels like with $1,100 on the offensive side to maybe make up whatever difference that could be, assuming there even is a difference gap there. Steele, I think, is an interesting pivot down from Kirby, is probably the more popular play today. You usually look at the roster there, you can confirm or deny that, but generally pitchers pitching against Oakland are where the field tends to gravitate towards. But then in chat here, Beezy's is listing off two of the guys that I like a lot tonight. Cole Reagans, as we mentioned, is a cover of Mark's value article today. And then Dan Creamer was the one that I went to right away. The Orioles are a minus 240 home favorite tonight. And then Creamer's plus 110 to get the win, which we talk about win totals. Usually a favorite win total is like plus 150. Like he is plus 110. He's that. The Vegas just is basically chalking him up for a W tonight. And you're getting Dan Creamer down here at $7,700 against the White Sox. Coming off of a 24 fantasy point game. He's got 20 fantasy points in 2 of the last 3. Pitched pretty well even in the loss against the Padres there. So, I kind of like limited my player field here to like a couple of guys. It was Kirby, it was Creamer, and it was Reagans, and I just kind of moved on.
You love calling him Dan every single time. Without fail,
Dan?
It is Dan. It is Dan.
I'm missing a letter. My bad.
Dude, every fifth day, Dan Creamer is death taxes.
Dan Creamer is probably a player somewhere. I just don't know who it is.
Yeah, I mean Dan Creamer definitely in play.
Don't
here.
Google Dan Creamer.
Okay.
Don't do it.
Good to know. Dan Creamer, definitely in play here against the White Sox. I mean, we saw Grayson last night throwing a wiffle ball. Scoop on the scoop, Jon Impemba on the scoop. Yeah, I mean, we saw what Grayson did throwing the wiffle ball against the White Sox, but even if he wasn't throwing wiffle ball against the White Sox, I think Dean Creamer would be firmly in play. He's been great last few starts. Houston, San Diego, Toronto has been the last 3 starts he's pitched in, and 24, 11, 21 fantasy points. But he's allowed 3 earned runs or less in all 3 of them. I love Creamer.
I don't mean to interrupt you here, but we have confirmed breaking news from Jeff Passan. The Angels have placed Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez, Hunter Renfroe, and Randall Grichuk on waivers.
They are the most dysfunctional franchise.
They've literally just released Giolito, Lopez, Renfroe, Grichuk, and more.
Because they went to them and they said, well, we just took on all your salary and we're not going to make the playoffs, so let's just
if they are claimed by Thursday, they can play on the playoffs for playoff teams.
I mean, every single one of them are going to be. They're going to all be claimed.
Yeah.
They're every single one of them. You get Giolito as a
that is
starter.
the equivalent of the last place team in your fantasy league dropping all their players.
Where's the note that Ohtani's been placed on waivers?
Can you imagine? Can you imagine? That is just
that's bad.
That is absurd. That they did that. That is unbelievable. Unbelievable.
Wow. Well, that is a dysfunctional franchise at its finest. Sheesh. I don't really know what to say. I mean, the Angels are. I thought they were making a mistake buying. I mean, I like the moves, but like they should have always traded Ohtani to begin with. Anyways, sorry, Faisal. I'm sorry. Sorry that you have to go through this again. Maybe one day you'll get a new owner of the team. I also agree on the Cole Reagans front. I think the field agrees. He is the highest rostered pitcher on DraftKings. He is the highest rostered pitcher on FanDuel. He's $6,000 on FanDuel. I feel like FanDuel's usually better about that, John, where they or no, he's not. He's 66. Sorry.
Yeah.
Still, I feel like they're usually more hip to this. Like maybe they should be raising his price a little bit higher.
I mean, it's a great format.
The strikeout upside lately.
Yeah, it's a great platform for Reagans to pitch on, right? You only get hit for the earned runs and you get the strikeout boost. Like I am all for Cole Reagans on FanDuel. Mike the mailman asked this best pitcher on FanDuel tonight. Honestly, it might be Cole Reagans, so you can go fit in all these Braves. I mean, that's where I'm going tonight, I think. And he's probably, I would imagine, maybe a little bit popular over there. FanDuel?
Yeah, he's number one. Yeah, highest on pitcher on both slates. Yeah. I will throw in one more name, and you can tell me if you're interested or not. It's just looking at some ownership. I think it makes sense is getting Alex Cobb. And I know he's been pretty bad lately, but dude, the Reds have been arguably worse. They were just mowed down by absolutely mowed down by Kyle Harrison last night. 6 1/3, 11 strikeouts. Harrison had 7 strikeouts through 3 innings last night too. Mm-hmm. They couldn't do anything against him. I know Alex Cobb is not going to go out there and strike out 7 of the first 9 batters of the game, but he also was in a really good form earlier in the year. Still has a 3.74 ERA despite recent struggles. If he can keep the ball on the ground, it's a really good ballpark to pitch in. 2.25 ERA for Alex Cobb at home this year compared to 4.98 on.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Again, not a spot that I was getting to, but definitely a matchup where we talked about the Reds lineup and just the inconsistencies that they have. So I could see it getting done there for sure. Appreciate everybody tuning in here as more of you begin to roll in. If you have any questions, feel free to throw them in the chat room. We're more than happy to answer FanDuel and DraftKings or Yahoo or wherever you're playing questions when it comes to tonight's slate. If you haven't already, we appreciate any likes and subscribes to the stream here today. Certainly helps us and boosts up the channel as we get going along here. So we wind down the MLB season, but NFL season's right around the corner. NBA DFS. James and I covered the NBA DFS for Fantasy Alarm as well. So can stick with us, follow along throughout the year for all the content. Moving on over to catcher. Yesterday we had the privilege of the min price 2K catcher for the Rockies. He is now a first baseman at $3,000, so we lose out on that. But we do have a couple of other cheaper plays here. Reese McGuire against France at $2,500 could be a spot for us here looking to spend down if we wanted some value. I know you've been on a Campusano at times this season, $2,900 against Thompson. Could be a place if we wanted to look for some value. Kirk against Mackenzie Gore at 32. Again, just trying to see where the value could be a catcher tonight.
Yeah, and speaking of Kirk, I mean, Danny Jansen hitting fourth, 3,500. So, not for only $300 more, you get Danny Jansen hitting fourth. He homered yesterday. Mitch Garver gets Jose Quintana at 3,800. I think there's some pretty good mid-tier value at catcher. I know you're talking value, but I don't think there's much value here.
Yeah, I agree.
So
I agree with you.
I like Danny Jansen probably as my favorite per dollar catcher play. The field also likes Danny Jansen as their favorite catcher play. But he fits into a lot of
Right.
builds. And for the record, I would also play Yanier Diaz at 4,100 if you had the money and you had to do something a little contrarian. We know how good he's been against right-handed pitching all year, and he has not. He's only getting better against right-handed pitching this year. So just some food for thought
BZ,
there.
Aston Jansen or Cal Raleigh tonight?
I mean, Jansen is definitely the better per dollar play. I mean, but Cal Raleigh, I think we talked about it, right? He has 5 multi-home run games this year. Cal freaking Raleigh. So I would say Jansen, but if you don't care about the salary, Raleigh's an elite spend as well.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we know the power for both is pretty elite. Cal Raleigh, current form though, definitely some of the best we've seen out of him in a little bit for consistency. But to your point, I mean, Jansen's been right there for the power numbers on the season for sure. Anybody else a catcher for you?
I mean, I'll just say obligatory Sean Murphy. You can play him. Sure. He had 21 fantasy points in Coors last night, and nobody cares.
Nobody cares. It's true. Not a soul. First base. Matt Olson is $6,900 nice, and he is nice. In Coors. I mean, if you didn't play him last night, obviously with the lefty spot, he still came through for 14 fantasy points. I mean, Gomber wasn't in there for long anyways, but tonight against Lambert, everybody in Atlanta's in play. So is it even worth breaking down the Braves players? Do you just go to the next available top player for you, or how are you looking at the position?
I mean, the Braves are 3x the next highest rostered team's ownership, right? So it's 3x on a 12-game slate is crazy. I mean, they're all going to be highly owned. So it's the Braves versus the field. Who do you prefer? Do you prefer the best offense in the league in the best hitting environment on a night after they scored 13 runs?
You do have to pick and choose where that spend comes. So does the spend come with Olson tonight for you at first base?
Yeah. I think Olson's one of the best spend ups of the slate. I mean, I think Acuna heard all the noise about Mookie Betts and was like, hold my beer last night, right? And then gets tackled by fans. And in the middle of getting tackled by fans, he homers, bases loaded, bases clearing doubles, 2 stolen bases, again, 50 fantasy points. But I think this position is pretty easy today. It's go all the way up to Olson. Yeah. You can play the Orioles, or you play Garrett Cooper, who had another big game last night. He did
have a big hat tip to you there. I was going back and forth between Costas and Cooper. Costas had the 2-run double, basically right off the bat. Then it's damn, I switched off to Cooper. Then Cooper came through big time. No reason not to consider him again if you're not playing Olson, because if you're not playing Olson, you're spending up on the other Braves, so you need the value. You're just playing Cooper, right? That's just your pivot down. Again, to that point, I do think you could play Pete Alonso tonight against Heaney. Lefty gives up a lot of home runs. Could be a spot there for sure, but I really wouldn't touch or look to attack much else at this position. So
I'll just throw 2 names out there, and you let me know what you think, because we saw Waldus Suck back last start.
Yeah. Well, he was really good for 4 innings, and then 5th inning came around, and they
3 home runs. The home runs. Yeah. I mean, so Ty France is here 4K. He's probably cooled off the most out of anybody, but 2 for 3 yesterday. And then Wilmer gets a lefty here. Yeah. Just 1 for 4 with a double and RBI yesterday for Wilmer. I was a little disappointed. Fantasy owners must have been really disappointed with Wilmer yesterday.
Oh, geez. Is there a joke that I'm? Oh, you have Wilmer Flores. Got it.
Yeah, I do. I picked him up. Yeah, sure. He's one. I mean, I sent you the picture.
Yeah.
In our fantasy league, what can Bryce Lewis, Trey Turner, Julio Rodriguez? What can you do?
I played O'Hearn yesterday in a lot of my lineups. He came through. Would you play O'Hearn here?
Yeah, I would play either Oriole first baseman.
Sure.
And you could play O'Hearn in the outfield if you wanted to play Mountcastle too, right? So.
For sure. All right. Second base here. Actually, BC wants to know Vladdy. I don't play Blue Jays so that often. And the Blue Jays really don't get left-handed pitching all that well. So
it's fine. 4.8 implied total. Vladdy 064 ISO against lefties. 355 WOBA is fine. But it's not. If you want to get there, he's fine. It's fine.
Sure.
Mackenzie Gore had some really bad luck in that Yankee start last time out. 2 errors in the first inning, and then a home. And then the Judge Judge did what he did, but he had really bad luck in that last start. It wasn't all his fault. So I don't know. I think you're paying a premium for your Olsen, or you're just moving on.
Buddy Kennedy hitting second tonight. Corbin Carroll back hitting seventh with a lefty on the mound for the Dodgers.
I just don't understand. Like, what is the point? You think that Buddy Kennedy is doing anything better than Corbin Carroll? Yeah, like, what are we doing?
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense. All right, let's take a peek on over then here at the second base position where there is Mookie Betts against Merrill. Jose Altuve hit for the cycle last night. He could obviously go there.
Sure
Ozzie Albies is $5,700. Ha-Seong Kim is $5K. So top end of the second base position tonight, sir.
Yeah, I think all three are in play. Kim, you know how you and I gravitate to Ha-Seong Kim typically at second base. So I do think they're all in play. I am really highly intrigued, John, just moving down in Davis Schneider here, because they called him when they originally called him up. They called him up to bat against lefties specifically, and they were gonna play him sparingly against righties. Now he's just playing every day, but he does have a lefty here. And you look at the numbers for Davis Schneider, and I know it's been an incredibly small sample, but he has a 722 ISO against lefties. So that would probably be my favorite second base play. Above 4K.
Sure. I see through you in here asking about Blue Jays great Davis Schneider.
I may or may not have just gone through a full rant about Davis Schneider.
I'm just saying he's calling him up.
I'm taking my headphones.
I'm just pointing out that you just mentioned it, and he's asking the question. It's like he didn't listen to what you just said. I was pulling it up for him. It wasn't a me thing. It was for the group. For the group. It wasn't a me thing. It's for the group. For the group. Going back.
I'm doing the two. I'm doing the two at the podium. Okay, get to a better podium.
Wasn't here. Where else are you going? A value tier.
Get to a better podium. Nobody. I think second base. Outside of the top names, kind of stink. I like Gavin Williams, so usually our classic pivot to Julian would be something. I don't think that's an option today. Bryce Terang, no. Casey Schmidt homered the other day, but he's back to sucking again. You tell me. I don't see anything else. I wish there was a clear-cut option here.
There really wasn't. I was seeing
Buddy Kennedy. Buddy Kennedy.
I mean, I could go back to Caballero. I think again. I know he went over 4 last night, but getting Waldichuk on the mound. So
it's probably Caballero.
See, he keeps on saying players right as we say it. See, he's just throwing everything off. He's maybe he's in our brain. He could just be in our brain. So.
Well, he does see through us.
That's true. He does see through us. That is true. We're not John Cena to him. He can see us. So, see through us. I don't know. All right, third base position then. Talk to me, man.
I mean, Austin Riley got the home run out of the way nice and early last night. Can obviously go there. Devers didn't look great. Maybe there is a wrist issue. 0 for 4 yesterday, but I think you can go back to the well with France. We just saw this matchup. I love Gunnar. We talked about it on the show yesterday about the stolen bases with Gunnar, and he stole 2 bases yesterday. 2 for 4 with 2 stolen bases. So just casually now again 372 average with a 1100 OPS over his last 10 games. So I think there's plenty at the top. Machado has hit lefties extremely well this year, although. A little disappointing in San Diego yesterday, but it's largely been their calling this year, right? San Diego has just been disappointing. Yeah. So I would probably say Devers, Gunnar would be my top 2.
We did call out Ryan McMahon on yesterday's show as a homer guy.
Yep.
And 2 for 2 with a homer. Do you run it back with him against Charlie Morton today?
I don't know. We didn't talk about Morton much. like at least like using Morton, I feel like Colorado's offense kind of sucks, and Morton hasn't allowed a run in 3 starts. So, what gives
Yeah,
today? Like what is it? Coors just he's 21 strikeouts in his last 13
I hear
innings.
you.
He's been so I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't think he's in. Like, I'm not gonna say no. I don't think he's in my player pool, but I obviously am not gonna sit here and be
Sure.
like, nah, you can't play a guy who's in Coors who has significantly better stats in.
You have Eugenio right underneath him against Waldichuk.
Yeah.
Suarez has always hit lefties anyways, so it could be a pivot off of him there. Talk about Royce Lewis and just the way that he's been swinging the bat lately. Lefties and righties doesn't really matter. Just a lot of power for him. Good for you. Happy for you. It's fine. Happy it's working out. What value third baseman are you peeking at?
Oh, I mean, back-to-back nights with the Grand Slam is pretty insane. Especially when you're like trailing in RBIs in specific instances, and then you just get. I mean, I think Ramon Urias is a little bit interesting to me. Is he in the lineup? Yeah, he's hitting 8th tonight, and I only say that because righties are giving Jesse Schulten so many issues. Another position where I found to not have fantastic value, like Noel V. Marte was really disappointing last night.
I would go back to him though.
But I would go back. It was just, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
They faced Kyle Harrison, who's one of the top prospects in baseball, and he had 11 strikeouts through 6 innings. Like, chalk it up as an L, and you move on sometimes, right? Yeah. And so I'd probably go back to Novi. No one's getting to him either. 2% rostered, so that would be a potential value.
I'm with you, Dave. Man, that's stolen base potential for sure. Back hitting 8th, take the pressure off him maybe a little bit too at the bottom of the lineup. Yep. Shortstop here. Is this an opener for Pittsburgh, Selby, or is that just their starter?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, Ortiz is their primary. Ortiz sucks, so
he does.
Definitely in on some Bobby Witt. Though 65 is steep price.
Yeah, but like
these guys,
it is. But like, he's also 4 home runs and 2 stolen bases away from 30-40.
I know.
I mean,
he's good.
So like,
he's a good player.
He is. He's
good player.
Sure.
But I'm good on attacking Pittsburgh there. I don't think they get blanked by anybody here tonight. You mentioned Gunnar already here. You do have Lindor versus a lefty, a favorable spot for us here. And Lindor's been on another one lately. 341, 923 the last 10. Maybe Alonso Lindor contrarian stack tonight.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know how much other Met exposure I'd get. Like, it'd probably just, the train would probably stop there, but I do agree. I think you could play both.
A quick weather check here, because that game does have the rain symbol. Looks good. Looks okay. Chicago-Baltimore, I guess, is one that could have some late game trouble in it. So take that for what it's worth. But everything else looks to be pretty good in this one. We have winds blowing in Chicago as well, 10 to 15 miles an hour, probably helping that 6.5 game total there. So more to consider. Abrams having a good night the other night, obviously, and then he gets the lefty spot against Air. 3 stolen bases.
Good.
CJ Abrams last night.
If
he's got 30, listen, we knew the stolen bases were going to be up across the league this year with the bags and the pickoff moves, but how many guys are going to have 40 plus stolen bases this year? A lot.
If he had been hitting leadoff all year, do you think he's already got like is 47 the number? Like, is he 50? Do you think we're like talking about like, is he like challenging a Story and Acuna for stolen bases or what?
He might. Dude, a Story missed like the month and a half, and then he can't get on base.
I know.
He was going into yesterday. Story Ruiz was 1 for 12 with a walk in his last 7 days, and he had 3 stolen bases still. He's on base twice. He had 3 stolen bases.
Make it make sense.
He just runs. Mid-tier guys, Arcia, Bogarts. Both guys are there in play for sure.
Yeah, I'll throw JP Crawford into that mix too. I know it's a lefty-lefty, but like, dude, name a better duo than leadoff home runs and JP Crawford. I'm pretty sure the Mariners Twitter account tweeted that last night, and that's why I'm saying
Alex Verdugo did have 3 straight games with a leadoff home run.
That's fair.
But,
That's fair. He can take the crown. But Crawford has been hit another first pitch, I think, out last night. 3 games out of his last 4 with 18 plus fantasy points, 3 home runs in his last 10 games. I mean, I'd play any Mariner, really. They're just incredible.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to say.
No arguments here. Speaking of speed, David Hamilton starting for the Red Sox tonight. I don't know if you've ever checked out David Hamilton's minor league numbers here, but he is an absolute speed demon this year at AAA. He had 49 stolen bases in 88 games. Last year, he stole 70 bags in 119 games for Boston. So this is a man that if he gets on first, he might as well be on second. So
he's going.
The question is, he's got to get on first.
What was the average at in the minor leagues here? Because
he hit 243 this year with an 800 OPS at AAA. Last year at AA, 250 with a 740. So
it is about getting on.
Oh, yeah. He's got to get on. He's got to get on base. 360 on base percentage this year, though. Not bad.
Okay, it's good. Yeah, it's good.
But yeah, just to kind of call that out, this man is an absolute flyer. Much like what we thought Billy Hamilton was going to be, David Hamilton has been at the minor league level as well. So just throwing his name into the wind if you're looking for a mid-price guy tonight. Hit a 9th for Boston. Red Sox have a good implied team total. If he gets on, he's going. It's literally the only reason he's basically on the team. So
he's the 3rd highest rostered shortstop of the night.
I believe it.
3rd highest rostered shortstop.
That does not surprise me. All right, moving on over to the outfield here for everybody. Ronald Acuna is $7K, and shock, he did pay off the $7,000 price tag. 51 fantasy points last night. He was only 23% rostered in my contest, which I felt was very low for a Acuna Coors 7.5 team implied run total Austin Gomber game. Only 23% rostered. Yep. I am very much going back to the well here with Ronald Acuna tonight.
Yeah. Also, I mean, what are we doing? If you're Ronald Acuna, how are you letting yourself get tabletop the way he did? I mean,
if you're had to see security, how are you letting him get tabletop?
Well, that is, I mean, we've seen a few instances lately of MLB security not exactly, guns getting snuck into stadiums.
Yeah, listen, I'm not going to suggest legitimate snipers on the rooftop, but maybe some beanbag snipers, maybe some paintballs. Yep. Just see people around the field, just something to take them out.
Yep. Agree. I mean, maybe we stop with the the meme with the guy who just he's in the yellow coat and he's just patting people down and he's just like,
yeah. Or if you really wanted to, and it would be unfortunate for the fans, you just do like the NHL. You just put the plexiglass all around. You can't climb over the plexiglass,
True.
So
true.
Could be.
That would probably present a lot of issues with home runs and stuff.
Well, if it hits the plexiglass, then it's a home run, right?
Auto home run, off plexiglass auto home run.
Well, what you do is you set it back a little bit, so it's you have the wall, a small little gap, and then plexiglass.
How often is the plexiglass shattered? Because what if Giancarlo Stanton hits a laser off the plexiglass? It's probably gonna shatter, right?
To Mark's point, Ty Domi did drag a guy from the penalty box over the glass and into the box, so. That did happen. If you're a hockey fan, you can go check that out. But yes, it happens every now and then. But who knows? I don't know. I'm just trying to figure out how to get fans to stop running on the field.
Sure.
Yeah. I think if they said there are snipers on the roof, you may be less inclined.
If you are, it's like step on my lawn. You can get shot. If you step on the field, there's snipers on the roof, pal. Good luck.
You get Mark Wahlberg out there and shoot her, and you just guy never missed. So can go out there. All right, Acuna obviously play. Mark Betsy obviously play. J-Rod obviously 100% in. We talked about Brian Bayo the last start. It was against Houston. We talked about his struggles against lefties. Pitch to Jen. He's now back-to-back starts, looking really good. Does he continue to pitch well, or do you look at Jordan, you look at Tucker, and say, okay, he's had trouble with home runs, he's had trouble against lefties. Perfect spot for them. Like, where are you running tonight with Bayo?
I mean, you also look at the fact that they've scored 30 runs in the last 2 games, too. You're like, Houston's coming in hotter than any team. The Michael Brantley debut on full display today for Houston. Another lefty in the lineup for them. I mean, like, I'm not going to obviously tell you not to play Jordan. He had 35 fantasy points yesterday. He had 18 the day before. I'm not going to not tell you, hey, go play Kyle Tucker. He only had 15 fantasy points yesterday, but 25. Right. Like, dude, these guys are as good as it gets. So I would say I side with the Houston guys here, but like, they're also, it's not like you're siding with, you have to pay a premium. So I mean, I'd be okay with getting Houston.
Are you playing either of them over J-Rod, Betts, Acuna?
Probably over Mookie. Not over J-Rod. J-Rod, I feel like him and Acuna are untouchable for me. Like, I mean, dude, for 5. Sure. Like, this guy is better than anybody right now. So I feel like we're saying that about someone new every week, which is insane about how good baseball is right now. Like,
yeah,
Freeman was hitting 700, then Mookie was hitting 700, and now Ozuna's hitting like, it's just insane. But no, I think that they're right behind Julio and Acuna for me.
Nobody really played Michael Harris last night. I could see people getting to him tonight. Even at $5,300, you just got the lefty-righty spot for him there. Ozuna, again, still $5,100. Love having him in the lineup. Just ridiculous potential for him in that spot there. Those are the guys up over 5K. If we're going our way down here, Francis struggles have been against right-handed hitters.
Yep.
And Adam Duvall homered again. 3 straight games and 6 of his last 8. So, it just feels like this is another spot where power's in play. You mentioned it the other day. This was the Adam Duvall that started the season before he broke his wrist. Seems like he's back. So,
yeah, I would say I think you could drop the seems like and just say he's back. Like, he's just back. I mean, dude, he's a prolific power hitter, and he's been that for years. It was a match made in heaven. Green Monster, although it's a monster, it's not a far ways away, and the guy has massive power. So it was always a good spot. He was gonna hit. I mean, look, we saw the first week of the year. He was gonna hit 40 home runs with the Red Sox. Like, he was gonna hit 40. He's only played 69 games, nice, and he's already hit 17 home runs. Like, he's hitting one every 4 games at this rate. So. I think Duvall's in a great spot, and like you said, the splits for France has been the entire season. It's been that way. Like, it's since
we're no longer on small sample sizes for the most part. We're on like season long sample sizes.
It's been that way.
Season long sample size. France sucks against righties. So, that's where we're at. Eddie Rosario is the cover of today's show. Again, just because he's a $4,800 Atlanta Brave in Coors, if you can find a under 5K Brave, you kind of plug him. Helps that Rosario himself here still white hot. 1 for 3 with a double last night, but 455 and a 1448 OPS.
Had the night off last night. Didn't play.
2 nights ago. Sorry, 2 nights ago.
They were like, hey, Eddie, sorry, we have to play the other 9 guys with a 900 OPS tonight.
Hey, Kevin Pillar's got to get in the lineup, take a seat. Love Rosario. I like Nolan Jones still, even though I know you mentioned Morton's recent production. Santander looks pretty good to me still, hitting 3rd against Schultens at 45. $100 here. Whit Merrifield back to the middle of the lineup for Toronto, so maybe an RBI potential for him in the mid-tier. Teoscar, 432, 1,200 OPS, 2 for 4 last night, 2 RBIs. Hitting left-handed pitching all season long gets Wall to suck here. So, man, it's a really strong 4K tier once again.
And I'll just drop one because I don't have much to add there. I'll just throw Austin Hayes into the mix too. I've been saying about righties all show long. Righties give Schultens fits. 243 ISO, 378 WOBA allowed. Over the last 30 days, Austin Hayes 196 ISO, 332 WOBA against right-handed pitching.
Yeah, IC3 brings up George Springer. 3 homers over the last 10. Heating up a little bit here. Hits in 4
stolen bases. The stolen bases. Are we back with Springer here? With stolen bases? He must be. Anytime I see people steal, I'm like, all right, they must be healthy. Like, if there's been like an injury lingering, They start stealing bases. I'm like, okay, they're back.
You see this?
Yeah. No, not doing it.
Okay.
I like, dude. He hasn't played in like. When's the last time he played?
I don't know. Hitting sixth.
I don't think he's played in a year and a half.
Back.
I don't think he's played a year and a half. I mean, he's 36.
Hitting sixth. Michael Brantley's back in the lineup.
He's obviously Michael Brantley's like been an elite player, but
a very long time ago.
Very long time ago at this point.
I like Kepler still. I know you said Gavin Williams. Gavin Williams, what, the 2 double-digit strikeout games lately?
Dude, he's been sheesh.
We know Minnesota strikes out, but they also hit for a lot of power. So pick and choose your poison there. I do like Melendez not leading off today, hitting cleanup. So a little switch in the lineup there. Michael Garcia back for KC, leading off for them. Let's see here. What other values are we going to tonight? Mentioned O'Hearn already.
Yeah. I was gonna say O'Hearn. I don't dislike Leote hitting 9th, but he's been slowing down a little bit.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, your boy Nick Martini hitting 4th tonight, John. Double dong Martini the other night, huh?
He's been,
his new nickname should be double fisting or double fist, right? Double
fisting martinis.
Yeah, I don't know. I tried. I tried to go there. I don't know if it worked. It didn't hit. Okay, we move on.
It's okay. Richie Palacios leading off for St. Louis today.
That is something. I mean, that's a choice.
It is a decision that was made.
He's 0 for his last 5. He did have a good game against Pittsburgh a few games ago. He was really good. AAA.
Weimer versus a lefty here.
Is it Weimer on the road against the lefty, right? No. I'm out. I'm out.
I know.
That's it. I don't see anything.
Yeah, I don't think there's anything else down here.
Let's see if there's any. Let's see where the value ownership is going. Dylan Moore, the field is getting to at 32. Yeah, 3,200. Dylan Moore.
Yeah, Wallner's there. Obviously, some power. Moore has 2 homers over the last 10.
2 stolen bases too. He's fast. He's a fast guy. The field is kind of getting to Brantley. Nelson Velasquez is getting some ownership here at 3K.
Yeah, we talked about this, DePrince, that he's the 3rd highest projected shortstop on the slate. So, he's stolen base guy though. That's really the only thing he's going to bring to the table tonight. He could steal 2 bags though, admin price and pay it off. So I don't hate the punt play.
Walk, steal 2nd, steal 3rd, run scored, crushes value.
Yeah. Yep, and I have we're looking into the rostership projections there, DePrince, as well. I let our tech team know. They'll be kind of resetting the feed there, see if we can get some updates for everybody on that before shortly to come here. So let's see. Anything else? Or are we ready to give our Call of Fame calls of the day?
Let's head over to the Call of Fame, John.
All right, give me your home run play.
We're gonna go back to back. We're gonna go J-Rod. They called the J-Rod home run last night. He's going yard again. He's going yard again tonight.
I'm gonna go Adam Duvall.
That's a good one.
Mine as well.
That's a good one. Love
Why
that
not?
One. Love that one.
On the Better Sports Betting Show, I took Aaron Judge, but he's not on the main slate. So
okay.
Nick, the wind is blowing in. So I don't think
it's good for. I think it would be. I mean, it's better for pitching. Like I don't know what angle.
Yeah, I mean, unplayable. I mean, were you not? I wasn't really in on Brewers against Steele, anyways. So
and conversely, Corbin Burns is tough to target on a big slate. I'd say. I know he's been bad 2 of his last 3, but probably really tough to target on a big slate. I mean,
yeah, and I didn't want to go Milwaukee against Steele. That's kind of a tough spot for them in general. All right, so what's your top stack? I mean, outside of Atlanta, what's your top stack?
I'll go Seattle. That's my top stack.
I'm gonna go Baltimore.
Yeah, that was my second. They have the second highest implied run total on the slate today.
Yeah. What's your value or contrarian stack of the day?
Value or contrarian? Well, I don't know. Texas has 5.1 implied runs, and they're only getting 2% ownership.
It's good.
I kind of like Texas. I know they're really expensive, so it's not like easy to get to, but I'll say Texas just as a contrarian, not as a value stack, because I think Seattle, Baltimore, Boston provide pretty good value, especially if you're just plugging Hamilton in at short.
Sure. For me, I'm going to go with Kansas City.
Okay. That's a good one. That's a good one.
Witt's really the only expensive player in that lineup, so you can get value all around him there. What's your value play tonight?
Value play tonight. I mean, we're just going to go Cole Reagans, right? I mean, he's probably the best play.
Reagans or Cooper.
Yeah, Cooper's a good one too. I think Cole Reagans would be my value play of the night, considering he's the highest rostered pitcher of the night. He's even on both FanDuel and DraftKings. So I'll go Cole Reagans as my value play of the night.
Okay. I'm in on that one then for sure. Again, I think him or Cooper fit the bill. All right, let's build our lineup then. We're going to obviously plug in Reagans here. How do we like the Royals and Waters today? Well, Faisal just said I like the Royals as my contrarian play. Waters isn't a guy I generally get to. I end up playing a lot of Witt, Melendez, Garcia, Perez, Massey, but Waters has some power, stolen base potential, so it's not a terrible spot. If he fits your builds tonight, I think you can get there.
He's been pretty good lately. For hits in 4 or 5, stolen base and a home run over that span. He's been a little better.
I like it. All right, Reagans is in. Is it Kirby for you? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yep. Wasn't sure if you wanted to go Dan Creamer or not. So.
Well, I mean, if we can't get to...
Sure, we'll spend down.
If we can't get to Braves, yeah. But, I mean, right off the bat, like, if we played Hamilton at short, we're probably going to be able to get to...
It helps that there isn't a Brave shortstop that we really want to play, so...
Yeah, because our CS facing a righty, right? So...
Olsen, I like Rosario. 33. What was our cheap outfielder that we were in on here? Martini?
We could play Martinis hitting cleanup.
3,500 for a second and a third baseman.
Caballero at second for 25.
45 at third, 43 at third. Lewis?
It's either we're 100 off Eugenio.
What are we 100 off of?
100 off Eugenio Suarez. I was just looking. Like, Royce Lewis is fine. Gavin Williams has obviously been pretty dominant, so it's not been like a fun thing to attack. Lefties have had way more success than righties. So, Suarez, $30,000. Nelson Velasquez is there, $3K if you wanted to play Royals.
You don't have to go Jansen either. I mean, that was 35. We could go a little bit cheaper.
Who is it? I know you probably would say Reese McGuire, right?
Well, I mean, Campusano or Alejandro Kirk's just $300 less. I mean,
true.
I
mean, Jansen is the chalk.
Sure.
Just for context, he is. Yep. That's where people are getting.
Yeah, I'm just saying if you want to save just a couple of $100, the power is still there for him.
Yeah, Campusano's good. Yeah.
A $3,600 outfielder. Can play Melendez.
Yeah, sure.
So just an idea of in the lineup. Flores here for Prince. We like Wilmer. You can certainly play in Wilmer tonight, that's for sure. And then if you wanted to just save some money, again, I like Dean Creamer a lot tonight. He is $7,700. Gives you an extra $2,000 to play with. $4,800 or $5,600 gets us a fourth Brave here. You can go Harris or Ozuna. Not a terrible looking lineup there either. So
not a bad lineup there. Either.
Almost gets us Jansen.
Still 100 off. Yeah.
Almost gets us Jansen. We'll never find the 100. We'll just go back down to Lewis. Call it a day. Yeah. If you want to get there, the different ways to do it today. Could get off Olsen, play Cooper, and go play Austin Riley. If you like that any better.
I prefer the Olsen play, but I definitely like what you're getting to here. Because then you could do
What did I just do here? How did I end up with?
You go to Kirby. You
$28
go to
left?
Kirby.
Oh, Kirby, yeah. Or we could just get off of him and play somebody else. Anyways, just examples of way you can build lineups around tonight, guys. There's different ways. Just kind of to recap, my favorite pitchers on tonight for me personally, Ray against Kirby and Creamer. I know you were in on what was your other pitcher there, James? Did you have one more that you
Alex
liked?
Cobb. I kind of liked Alex Cobb there.
Yeah, Cobb is the other value. Obviously, Atlanta's in. I liked Baltimore as well, and the Royals. James liked the Rangers, and what was it? Was Boston? What was your
my contrarian was Texas, just because the ownership was.
What was your top?
Seattle.
Seattle. All right, so a bunch of stacks out there. Playbook's live. Go find the playbook here on Fantasy Alarm. If you're not yet a Fantasy Alarm member, you can subscribe today. Go to fantasyalarm.com/win. Take advantage of our month-to-month or annual package. The annual package is a 40% discount off the monthly package there. So go save yourself a whole boatload of money heading into the fantasy football season. You can scan the QR code or click the link in the description. James and I'll be back tomorrow breaking down. Are we breaking down the early slate tomorrow? I forget. I think we have a split slate tomorrow. So the podcast likely in the morning, breaking down the early slate. We'll be back live at 5 o'clock Eastern for the late slate. Catch us on Twitter, catch us in the Discord, and we will catch you guys later.